Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Maciej. I work at L2Bit as software developer. And in today's talk, I want to tell you why DeFi security really starts at the chain level. We'll look at what that means in practice, why it matters for users, and how at L2Bit we are trying to make those risks clear and easy to understand. So yeah, DeFi has matured last few years. We've gone from experimenting with small lending pools to protocols that now secure billions of dollars. To put that into perspective, Aave alone is now comparable to mid-sized traditional bank. In terms of asset locked, it would actually rank as 42nd largest bank in the world. That's how big DeFi has become. At the same time, we moved beyond Ethereum. The action is now spread across dozens of L2s. Users interact with these chains every single day, often without realizing how different they really are. Most users don't think about the chains at all. They look at the protocol, they compare yields, and they jump between deployments to chase the best return. From their perspective, Aave is Aave, Uniswap is Uniswap. These are battle-tested contracts running for years in production. Nothing can go wrong, right? But this creates the fundamental problem. Let's take Aave as an example again. It looks the same on Ethereum, on Base, or Arbitrum, Linea, Ink, Scroll. The logo is the same, the interface is the same, even the contracts are the same. But in reality, those are completely different worlds. And that's the starting point of this talk. DeFi security does not begin with the protocol, it begins with the chain. When we say that, it's not just theory. It has real consequences for users. The question is simple. What happens when the chain stops or shuts down completely? We've already seen this tested with DYDX v3 on StarkX. When the team decided to shut it down and move on to building V4, the system still held a lot of user funds. That could have gone badly. If users had no way to exit, their asset might have been trapped there forever. But that didn't happen because StarkX has forced withdrawal mechanism built in, and even after operators stopped running the chain, users could still exit safely directly to Ethereum. You can see that on the chart. After a shutdown announcement, the total value started dropping from around $1 billion down to around $30 million today, but the remaining funds are likely just forgotten. But overall, it worked exactly as intended. That's what real user protection looks like. It goes beyond audits and solid contracts. It's about what happens when the chain stops. And if the chain doesn't give you the guarantees to exit in every situation, your funds are never truly safe. So because all of these problems, we at L2Bit research all these systems. We analyze every Ethereum scaling solution, and we've built unified ways for you to see the difference and to understand in one place how secure and how mature each project really are. But when you first open L2Bit, it can be a bit overwhelming. There are a lot of colors. There is some random thing like looks like a pizza in the table. There are some stages, but it's not random. It just shows how different these projects really are. Each one makes its own trade-offs, and we try to make those differences clear and easy. So in the next part of this talk, I want to walk you through what all of this actually means, starting with the tab split. Then we will talk about this pizza-like thing called risk rosette, and finally, the stages framework. These are the core parts of L2Bit, and once you understand them, the whole site starts to make sense, and you can use it to stay safe while surfing through DeFi. So yeah, we split projects into three main categories. There is also the fourth one for project we haven't reviewed yet, but we'll skip them obviously today. This split is the foundation. It shows what kind of security model each project is built on. First, we have rollups. These are projects that have proof system, and they use Ethereum for data availability. All the data you need to reconstruct the state lives on Ethereum, so anyone can access it. That's a big step in the right direction. Then we have Validiums and Optimiums. These are projects that also have proof system, but they don't use Ethereum for data availability. Instead, they rely on external DA layer, like Celestia or Eigen DA, but they also use DA Bridge, which is a set of contracts integrated into proof system that verifies that the data actually exists. It connects the external DA layer back to Ethereum security model. It, of course, also introduced more trust assumptions because now you depend on this DA layer and DA Bridge both working as intended. And then we have others. These are projects that are missing something fundamental. Maybe they use external DA layer, but without DA Bridge. Or they use Ethereum for data availability, but they don't have proofs. Or they have proofs, but they are closed to few limited actors. These are the most trust-heavy setups. In this table, you can, of course, also see what each project is exactly missing. But this split is all just a foundation. This is just a starting point. Because to really understand how chain safe is, we need to look where the actual risks are. And that's where the risk rosette comes in. It shows you the 5 main areas of risks for each project, with each slice representing an assumption you make when using that chain. Green means strong guarantees, yellow partial trust, and red means you are depending on someone. In a moment, we will go through each element one by one with some examples so you can easier understand what this risk looks like in practice. First element is state validation. It answers a simple but crucial question: how is the system state verified? Green slice means there is fully functional proof system deployed, it's permissionless, and delay attacks are bounded. And this is exactly the case for Arbitrum. Yellow slice means proof system is safe overall, but it can be affected by delay attacks. That's when the operator slows down proof submission or challenge resolution to slow down withdrawals. Yellow can also mean that the whitelist is used, but with at least 5 external actors that can use them. And here we have Quinto. And red slice means requirements aren't met, there is no open source code, or proofs are just basically not deployed, and here we have blast with no proofs. Another element is data availability. It tells you if all the data needed to reconstruct the chain state is available. Green slice means data is posted to Ethereum, that's a true rollup, anyone can access it. Perfect solution. Here we have Base, which uses Ethereum blobs for storing all of its data. Yellow means data is stored on external DA layer, and DA bridge is used. We've already talked about this setup on Validium's and Optimium's page. And here we have Sophon, which uses Avail for DA together with the vector bridge. And red means data is off-chain without the DA bridge, or it's on what we call basement DA run by a few trusted actors. Ethereum can't verify if the data actually exists. No one knows for sure. And here we have Corn, which relies on a small DAG. This topic is a bit more complex because each DA layer brings its own guarantees and risks. That's why we've built separate data availability risk framework for evaluating them. I also gave a talk about DAs and this risk framework on IFPRAC this year, so if you are interested, please scan the QR code and watch it later. Okay. So next element is exit window. It tells you how much time users have to exit if an upgrade is announced. Green slice means user get at least 30 days. This is plenty of time to react, and here we have Facet Bluebird, with which contracts are not upgradable. Yellow slice mean between 7 and 30 days. It's okay, but you're under time pressure. Here we have Starknet with 7 days. And red means less than 7 days or even instant upgrades. Here we have Linea with instant upgrades. It might sound minor, but it's crucial because if governance can push a bridge upgrade that changes the bridge logic overnight, users might not have enough time to exit before something bad happens. Also, some systems also have security councils, which can make instant emergency upgrades. That's not necessarily bad. Councils are useful for fixing bugs quickly, but it's also crucial to set them up properly because if they are compromised, they can upgrade everything instantly. Another slice is proposer failure. So what happens if the entity posting routes to Ethereum goes offline? Green slice means anyone can post routes, or in some upchains, the system can freeze and let user withdraw through L1, and this is exactly the case for DYDX V3 that I showed you at the beginning. Yellow means there is some fallback, so governance or security council can step in to rotate proposers or post new routes. Here we have ZK Sync era with governance system that can replace proposers. And red means it's fully centralized, so if the proposer stops, the L1 view freezes, withdrawals can't finalize, and you can't get their money back, basically. And here we have Polygon ZKVM with whitelisted set of proposers. And finally, the last element, sequencer failure. So what happens if the sequencer stops or starts censoring transactions? Green slice mean user can self-sequence blocks or force include transaction through an L1. Here we have Sonium, which supports for inclusion mechanism, but more on that in a minute. Yellow means user can submit transaction to an L1 queue, but they can't force include them. Sequencer can't selectively censor specific users, but it can stop processing the queue entirely, meaning everyone is stuck. Here we have abstract, and red means there is no alternative path, so if the sequencer is down, the whole chain is down. And here we have Katana. And this metric is all about the liveness and censorship resistance, because if you can't force your transaction through, you don't really control your funds. And this is not just theory, it actually happened in practice, because it actually happened on Sonium. Its sequencer started censoring all transactions related to IBO token which is trademark name for Sony's robotic puppy, and all the transactions related to this token were blocked. But Luca Donno from our research team proved that censorship resistance is real. He manually crafted transaction call data, force included on L1, and after a few minutes, transaction appeared in L2 Explorer, and this is exactly what green slice mean here. Censorship might happen, but at least users have a mechanism to fight it. So to sum up, the risk rosette gives you a simple visual snapshot of where the actual risks are for each chain. State validation shows if you can verify the state. Data availability is the data available. Exit window, how much time you have to react before something bad happens. And sequencer and proposer failure shows if the system can still work or at least let you withdraw if main operators go down or start misbehaving. And now that we know where the actual risks are, the next natural question is how far each project has gone to remove them. And that's where the stages framework comes in. It's a simple three-step ladder that shows the overall maturity and decentralization of each rollup, with each step removing a piece of trust, and you can see that in the rosette getting greener. First, we have stage 0, we call it full training wheels. Project post-DA and roots to Ethereum has a basic proof system, but it's still heavily centralized. Small multi-sigs and operators can upgrade freely. Then we have stage 1, limited training wheels. Now user funds are protected unless 75% of the security council colludes. Exit windows last at least 7 days, and governance can replace proposers. And finally, stage 2, no training wheels. Now proofs are permissionless, exit window lasts at least 30 days, and security council can only act in case of provable bugs like two proof systems disagreeing with each other. And as Vitalik wrote in his blog post, being stage 0 at the beginning is totally fine. You need training wheels to test things and move fast. But over time, you should upgrade towards stage 2, removing trust in people with trust in code. Yet, many projects didn't remove training wheels even after years in production. So we at L2Bit, we try to put pressure on these teams to grow up, to keep evolving, and to deliver on the promise of decentralization. Because we've built something amazing in DeFi, open permissionless systems, doing what is impossible in traditional finance. But all of this still relies on the chains beneath it. So we try to make this invisible layer visible because transparency creates pressure and pressure creates progress. That's how we move from experiments to real things. So next time when you are bridging, farming, or just deploying more capital on-chain, don't just ask, is this protocol safe? Also ask, is the chain beneath it safe? Because that's where DeFi security truly begins. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Maciej. I think we have time maybe for a couple of questions. Yep. So you raised your hand as soon as he was done. So here you go.
Hi, I'm Tom, representing Facet, one of the only stage 2 rollups. So exit window, right? To get stage 2, you need a 30-day exit window, but yeah. Why 30 days? I've never seen any justification for that number, and in fact, the data you used, the argument you used favoring the exit window is very much anti-30 days. DYDX, if they had merely a 30-day exit window, users would have lost millions of dollars. They are good because they are immutable. Stage 2 should require immutability. What do you say to that?
That's a very good question. You can come to me after the talk, and we can discuss it. I can also contact you with someone from our research team. I guess they are better to answer that question.
So you were talking about stage 2 as being like the final goal of any chain, really, or any L2. But what if the intended design requires some form of centralization? I know it's a bit taboo here.
I can't hear you well. Can you like?
What if, for example, an app chain requires, or at least like for a good user experience, it requires centralized sequencer to be able to have higher throughput, or especially for specific applications like exchange, for example, where you want to be able for your transactions to be settled faster. Like in that case, does stage 2 as the final goal for any L2 is really optimal in that regard?
Yeah, like On our website, for every app chain, we below the stage badge, we show that this is app chain because for most of the app chains, the case is a bit different. So we are trying to analyze every bit differently. But we are showing that each one is an app chain. But yeah, if we want to talk later, we can go.
All right, maybe time for one more. No? Oh, good. Well, thank you, Maciej.
Thanks.